Ladies, be honest. Have you ever walked into a room and caught a faint, familiar scent, one that reminded you of your mother or your grandmother, and then suddenly realized it's coming from you? Today, we're diving into one of the most taboo, uncomfortable topics that almost no one dares to talk about, that old lady smell. Yes, I said it. And if you're over 60, you've probably wondered about it, even if you've never said it out loud. But here's the thing, it's not your fault. There are biological, environmental, and even emotional reasons this scent develops over time. And the most shocking part, you may have inherited it. Stay with me, because this might just change how you think about your body and your legacy. And before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments, have you ever smelled your mother and yourself? Let's start the conversation we've all been too afraid to have. Part 1, the inherited scent, what no one tells you. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever walked past someone, maybe at the store or even in your own home, and suddenly been hit with a smell that reminded you of your mother? Not perfume, not food, but something deeper, earthier, a mix of stale powder, old linen, maybe a touch of something musty or sour. Now, here's the real shock. Did you pause and think, wait, is that me? I did. I'll never forget the day it hit me. I was folding towels in my laundry room. I leaned down to grab one of the old hand towels, the ones I'd had for years, and this wave of scent just rose up. And my first thought was, that's my mother's smell. But the truth was, she'd been gone for 10 years. And that scent, it wasn't hers anymore. It was mine. I panicked. I sniffed my blouse, my robe, even the towels. Everything smelled, lived in, and not in a charming way. That's when I started digging, reading, and asking questions. It turns out this phenomenon is not a myth. Scientists have actually studied it. The old person smell, yes, they call it that in scientific literature, is real. It's not about hygiene. It's about a compound called unknowingly, which is a byproduct of our skin's natural oil breakdown. When we're younger, we don't really produce it in noticeable amounts. But after 40, and especially after 60, the levels start to rise. And because our skin becomes drier, the oils and dead skin cells linger longer. Combine that with slower sweat evaporation and less frequent clothing turnover, and you've got a recipe for what many of us are smelling and inheriting. You see, we don't just inherit genetics, we inherit habits. My mother kept the same couch for 40 years. She stored sweaters in plastic bins for decades. She wore the same winter coat from my childhood until I had children of my own. All those items held her scent, and when she passed, I kept them. Without knowing, I kept the smell, too. And here's the punchline. I thought I was keeping her memory, but I was also keeping her odor profile. Ladies, we pass down recipes, jewelry, and life lessons. But sometimes, without realizing it, we pass down the things we never meant to, like the scent signature of age. And now, it's time to talk about it. Part 2, hormones, skin, and the chemistry of age. Let's go deeper, beneath the surface of the skin. When we hit menopause, everything changes. Our hormones take a nosedive, particularly estrogen, the hormone that kept our skin plump, our hair thick, and our body systems humming quietly in the background. When estrogen drops, so does collagen, that miracle protein that gave our skin elasticity. What replaces it? Thin, dry, slower to renew skin. And with that dryness comes a cascade of unexpected issues, including odor. Here's what many women don't know. Sweat isn't actually what smells. It's what happens when sweat mixes with bacteria, especially when it sits on the skin longer than it used to. Add to that a slower skin cell turnover rate, that's your body sloughing off dead skin, and suddenly your skin becomes a breeding ground for that dreaded scent. Now combine that with sebaceous glands, the oil-producing glands in your skin, which are still active. You're producing oil, but not exfoliating fast enough to remove the buildup. And when those oils oxidize, especially in places like underarms, neck folds, under the breasts, or behind the ears, that is where the signature old lady smell starts. But it doesn't stop at the skin. Our hair plays a role too. Thinning hair, drier scalp, and less frequent washing all lead to a subtle scent clinging to strands that act like little odor sponges. Ever noticed how your pillowcase smells after a few nights? That's your hair and skin leaving behind a trace. And don't even get me started on hormonal medications, digestive changes, and metabolic shifts. They all affect how your body processes scent from the inside out. Here's the hard truth. This isn't just about forgetting to shower. It's a biological transformation that no one warns us about. But that doesn't mean we're powerless. Far from it. Part 3. Fabric traps and furniture ghosts. Let's step into your home for a moment. You might not realize this, but your couch, your robe, your favorite recliner, they're all whispering behind your back. Smell is memory. It clings to soft surfaces, the way secrets cling to family gatherings. And when you've lived in a home for 10, 20, 30 plus years, the scent of your skin, your cooking, your shampoo, and yes, your aging body starts to seep into the walls. Think about it. How often do you wash your curtains? When's the last time you shampooed the recliner? What about that throw pillow you've had since Bush was president? I say this with love. Most of us forget. We get used to our own scent, so we stop noticing. But guests notice. Young people notice. And worst of all, our children might be too polite to say it, just like we were when our mothers smelled a little off. Old scent isn't just from old age. It's from old habits. And when you don't rotate clothes, wash bedding often, or air out the house, it starts to feel heavy, like time is pressing down on everything. Even your favorite cardigan, the one you always wear when you're cold, might be more responsible for that mature aroma than you think. Here's what I learned the hard way. I had a wool shawl I loved. I wore it while watching TV, folding laundry, reading, and even while sipping wine on the porch. One day, my granddaughter came over, gave me a hug, and wrinkled her nose. "Grandma, your sweater smells funny." Ouch. I was embarrassed, but also grateful, because it woke me up to what I was blind to. I was living in the scent of my own past. So I started fresh. I washed all my blankets with baking soda and vinegar. I aired out my closets. I finally tossed those sentimental nightgowns that had gone from vintage to vaguely sour. And you know what? I felt lighter. Not just cleaner, but freer. You don't have to scrub every corner of your home, but you do need to recognize the soft traps where scent builds up and sneaks back onto you. Part 4. How to break the scent cycle without losing yourself. Now that we've uncovered why the old lady scent shows up and how it might even be inherited, the big question becomes, what can we actually do about it? Because here's the honest truth. Most of us have spent decades developing not only habits, but entire routines built around comfort. Our favorite products, our favorite robes, our favorite chairs. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you to throw everything out and start fresh. That's not realistic. That's not respectful. And frankly, that's not necessary. What is necessary, however, is learning how to interrupt the scent cycle, to identify where it's hiding, and slowly start replacing, refreshing, or washing it out of your life. Let's go step by step. 1. Reevaluate your body wash and soap. Many older women, myself included, grew up believing that the more lather and perfume a soap had, the cleaner we were. But as we age, those heavily perfumed soaps actually strip our already dry skin of its protective barrier. That makes the skin even drier, flakier, and more likely to hold odor. Instead, try switching to a fragrance-free, pH-balanced cleanser made for sensitive or mature skin. Look for ingredients like glycerin, ceramides, or oat extract. These won't mask your scent with something stronger. They'll balance your skin, so there's less scent to begin with. 2. Exfoliate gently but regularly. Once a week, I use a soft, dry brush or a gentle scrub on my arms, legs, back, and especially areas like behind my ears and around the neck folds. Those spots tend to collect oils and dead skin without us realizing it. This isn't about being squeaky clean. It's about removing buildup that silently feeds the scent cycle. And please, don't be too rough. Mature skin bruises and tears more easily. This is a kind ritual, not punishment. 3. Refresh your wardrobe, especially the hidden layers. Let me ask you something. When's the last time you washed your scarves? Or that winter coat you pull out of the closet for 3 months and then hang back up for the next 9? We often forget that items we don't wear often still absorb our natural scent. And over time, even if you only wore them a few times, that scent deepens and begins to follow you. Use white vinegar or baking soda in the wash occasionally. It's not just for smells. It also helps break down oils that standard detergent leaves behind. And those beloved knits, if the label allows, air dry them in the sun once in a while. Sunlight is nature's best and cheapest deodorizer. 4. Replace small items that hold big odor. Think hairbrushes, slippers, bras. All of them are in direct contact with our bodies, and yet we rarely wash or replace them. I had a hairbrush I'd used since my 50s. It felt like an old friend, but one day I looked closer and saw a buildup of dust, oil, and who knows what between the bristles. It had become a scent archive. Replace or wash these items regularly. Even something as simple as a fresh pillowcase every 3 days can transform how you feel when you wake up. 5. Let fresh air in daily. This is the simplest change and the most powerful. Every morning, I open my windows, even just for 15 minutes. The breeze clears what candles and sprays can't. And believe me, your home will feel younger. 6. Toss with love, not guilt. You are allowed to let go of items that smell like the past, even if they're tied to someone you loved. I had a cardigan that belonged to my late sister. It smelled like her and me. It carried so much comfort, but also so much weight. One day I held it, said a little thank you, and let it go. Because here's the thing. You're not dishonoring someone by removing their scent from your space. You're making room for your own life. A life that still has freshness, still has vibrance, still has you. Breaking the cycle isn't about shame. It's about being awake. And once you're aware of the scent that follows you, you can change it. And that, my dear, is power. Part 5. The emotional truth. The smell isn't just on you, it's in you. This part is the most tender and the most difficult. Because once you've aired out the curtains, replaced your brush, and washed your clothes, you might still smell something familiar, something deep. And that's when you realize this scent doesn't just live in your things. It lives in your self-perception. Let's face it, growing older in today's world comes with an invisible pressure to fade quietly, to step aside, to let youth take the stage, to keep our senior moments private and our changing bodies under wraps. So we learn to stop drawing attention to ourselves. We stop wearing bold colors. We lower our voices. And yes, we stop noticing how we smell because we start to believe it's inevitable. But I want to say something radical. You are still worth noticing. The scent you carry should tell your story, not your surrender. And here's where the emotional weight of all this hits. That old lady smell we're so afraid of isn't just a physical odor. It's a symbol of what we've come to accept, even when we don't want to. It's the scent of letting go of dreams, of saying, I'm too old for that, of staying in routines because they're safe, of feeling invisible. It's the scent of quiet resignation, and it's time to wash that off. You see, when I finally tackled the smell in my home, something unexpected happened. I started to feel more confident. I started wearing lipstick again. I danced in my living room without closing the curtains. I reconnected with a friend I hadn't seen in 10 years. Why? Because I no longer felt like I was carrying the weight of time on my body. Smell is powerful. It's tied to memory, to presence, to identity. And when you reclaim it, when you choose what your body, your clothes, your home say to the world, you are reclaiming yourself, not as someone who's still got it, but as someone who never lost it.